Rob, one of the things I wanted to ask you too is a lot of times doctors have issues, not just with patients not paying them, but these big insurance companies. They don't pay them. Sometimes months, years go by, and the amount of money is extremely substantial. It's between 1.5 and $4 million. Now, what recourse do the doctors have to get these money from insurance? We already know what they can do with patients, but these big insurance companies, what can they do?
It can be very difficult for private practitioners, especially in small medical practices or individual medical practices, because they lack the bargaining leverage that, say, Northwell will have, and that's why Northwell became the animal that it is today. Was to push back against HMOs and insurance companies, which they've done successfully, by the way. But what you've seen is the sort of a reduction, a diminishment of that family practitioner or the sole practitioner who, is integrated into the neighborhood, and that's unfortunate. But there is recourse for these doctors as well, because when these insurance companies come in with their endless audits, which is oftentimes the case, it's very important for doctors to understand that as long as they are following the guidelines that are set out in their contract with their insurer, and they jump through every single hoop that's in there and that's supposed to be jumped through, it is possible. Sometimes doctors wind up in arbitration processes with carriers, and you're seeing that. You were sort of seeing that a lot in the past couple of decades, and it's starting actually to decline a bit. Oddly enough, because sometimes the judicial system is proven to be faster, believe it or not. But regardless of where you go, the key is to stay lockstep with your agreement and to not let time deadlines in particular pass, because those are always strictly enforced, particularly in New York State.
Now, can let's say a doctor is owed $1.5 million by an insurance company, and it's been like 8 months. Could they contact you to maybe get the ball rolling, to maybe shake these guys down and actually pay them what they owe them?
Well, I don't think the insurance carriers would, or at least the doctors anyway, would call it a shakedown. They call it getting what they're owed at the end of the day, right?
Exactly.
And that's pretty much what it is most of the time. They're submitting claims because they're trying to practice medicine. All right, the doctor doesn't want the insurance carrier dictating what the course of medical coverage or treatment looks like, and that should never be the case. So what these doctors need to do is to stay on top of that process early. That is key. Be proactive with your policy, be proactive with your carrier, and make sure that every time a claim is declined, that you're documenting it and you're submitting it as a claim. And that's the biggest problem that doctors have, is they're letting these claims elapse. What you have to understand about carriers is this also. They ultimately are not looking to go to jury trials. They do not do well before juries, as you might imagine. Insurance carriers never do. And once you pass a certain stage of litigation, and I'm not talking about the example where there's an arbitration clause in your policy, in the doctor's policy with the carrier. I'm talking about when you sue in court. Once you get past a certain threshold in that litigation, that carrier is going to be inclined to settle the dispute with you. And that's, that works for everybody, because it allows the carrier to move on, and it allows the doctor to get back to doing what the doctor does, which is practice medicine and treat patients. That's what the doctor needs to be doing, not spending their time litigating. But oftentimes you have to prove to that carrier that you're willing to go a certain length to recoup your funds.
Right. And an attorney like you could help out in that type of situation.
I like to sing, and I have a pretty good track record with it too. And doctors are some of, in my experience, some of the best clients also. They're enjoyable to work with, and they really are. It's a level of dedication that you don't necessarily see across the board in other industries, but when you're dealing with medical professionals, it's really pleasant, and I found it to be a very rewarding experience.
So hopefully any doctors who are watching that, who are owed huge amounts of money by your insurance company, definitely look up Rob at this website. Until next time, I'm Ira McKenna. We'll catch you later.